All right, so case studies. Case studies aren't really a new type of question. Case studies are a sort of whole genre up to themselves. But this is a genre where it's a group of questions that are all put together about one topic. And that case study, the questions themselves will be the same question types. So there'll be multiple choice, there'll be drag and place, there'll be hotspot, there'll be check all that apply. So it could be any of those types of questions in a group of anywhere from 12 to 24. My guess is they're really shooting at about 20, 18 to 20, which is a lot of questions on one topic. So it's a really interesting thing. I was expecting when we got there, I was thinking they were going to be saying their case studies were like 8 questions or something, and they are going for it, and they're saying, no, it's going to be about 20 questions. The case studies will always be at the end of the multiple choice. So let's say it's 100 questions total, and 20 of them are part of the case study. So you would go through the first 80 questions, and then the last 20 are all considered as part of the case study. It would look different. You actually kind of go into a separate graphically identifiable area. You're now in the case study. And it'll look like it'll have a bunch of tabs along the top. And those tabs are going to take you to different pieces of information. So one tab might take you to some code information. One might take you to a site plan. One might take you to the sort of program that the client made, et cetera, et cetera. There's a whole series of different possible things that might those tabs would take you to, and then there'll be a series of questions that are all related to this set of information. So there'll be some basic written information, then these tabbed information, and then the series of questions. You don't have to do it at the end. You can actually go and do if you're nervous about it or something, you can go and do it at the beginning and then just go back and start from the beginning after you've done it. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Once you've tried a couple or something, I think you'll have some opinions about the best way to move through the exam. It's possible you might have 2 case studies. So you might have, say, 60 or 70 questions on something, and then 20 and 20 for different case studies. Some of the topic areas are probably not going to be great for 20 or 24 type questions, and so a few of them will be smaller in the kind of 12 to 14 question range. But they seem really committed to being pretty big case studies. Don't think there'll be any at the sort of 5 or 6 question range. So the tabs, like I said, are these pieces of information, and those tabs are going to take you to, like, for example, the code. It could take you to a 50-page section of the code. The program could be many pages long. Site plan could have lots of extraneous pieces of information. So the whole point here is that you're not going through like you would with a normal question, where on a normal question, you're going to read the entire question. You're going to make sure you know everything in that question, and then you're going to try to answer it. In this scenario, there's no way you could sit and read 60 pages of code, and it wouldn't make any sense. Why would you bother looking over the entire site plan if the questions really don't, focus on certain portions of it? So there's sort of 2 approaches. One is that you kind of review through the information, get to a point where you're comfortable with what the project is all about, and then go to the questions and kind of whiz through the questions. The other approach is that you glance down through all the questions, kind of read every single one of them, and then go and review the information. I don't think there's a right way to do it. I could imagine I would probably be more in the second camp, but I know some other people I've talked to are definitely in the first camp. So know that this is a situation where you're supposed to actually use it in the way that you would use a code in your office, where you would go through, you'd find the table of contents, you're looking for a specific piece of information, you find that, and it's PDF hyperlinked, so you can actually jump around a little bit. And then you'd find that piece of information, you'd read that, you'd look for the exceptions or whatever it happened to be, and then jump out of it and go answer the question. So you're not meant to read everything, but it is pretty daunting. So it's kind of a big deal. And when you see something pop up and it says 60 pages or 75 pages, it throws you for a surprise when you first see it. The case studies are really the way that they're trying to approach the comprehensiveness of architecture.
Now we do have probably 5 questions here that are all the same. Folks asking about when practice exams for 5.0 will be available, when study material will be available. And so the folks at NCARB told us that they're shooting for the middle of June, I think, to make their formal announcement on when the exams will be live for A.R.E 5.0. And they were anticipating, again, 4th quarter, so somewhere between October, November, and December. So what we're doing here is we're actually going to be developing all of our study materials over the next few months, and those will be available, very likely they'll begin to be available in August. And they very likely will be, we'll begin with the two exams that of course are part of the A.R.E 4-5 kind of overlap strategy. So I also believe at that time in June, when NCARB makes an announcement, that's also when they will be sort of introducing their exam guides, which I think provide a lot of detail about how the exams are organized and so forth.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that happening at exactly that time. That's what they're shooting for now. This is a complicated process, and there's bound to be some glitches along the way. But certainly in the summertime, they'll have all of that information up. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts with 1 or 2, and then everything else goes up. But you know, they're racing along, trying to make it happen.